It is late at night. The world is quiet, but many people are still awake. They lie in bed, staring into the darkness while their minds continue running. A phone screen lights up beside the pillow. There is an unread message from work. You do not want to open it, but you cannot stop thinking about it. What will happen tomorrow? Will the important report fail? Will your manager be disappointed? Will something happen that you cannot control? Then your thoughts move to your family. Your parents live far away. Are they feeling okay? Did they take care of themselves? Did they eat properly? Even a piece of news you saw earlier, something unrelated to your life, stays in your mind and creates another worry. You tell yourself that worrying means being prepared. You believe thinking about every possible problem can protect you. But sometimes, the thing that exhausts you is not the problem itself. It is the fear before the problem even arrives. You lose today's peace because you are fighting tomorrow's battles. This is the story of Tom. Tom was an ordinary person. He worked as a project manager at an internet company. To everyone around him, Tom was responsible, reliable, and successful. His colleagues trusted him. His managers depended on him. But nobody knew how tired he really was. Inside his mind, there was a machine that never stopped. Every morning, before his day even began, his thoughts were already searching for problems. Would the meeting go well? Would his manager change the plan? Would the customer make a difficult request? Someone on his team make a mistake? These things had not happened yet, but Tom had already experienced them in his imagination. At work, he checked messages repeatedly. Even after reviewing a document many times, he still searched for possible mistakes. He was always preparing for emergencies, but most emergencies never happened. After work, his mind still refused to rest. He worried about his parents. He worried about his career. He worried about the future. At night, instead of sleeping, he searched for industry news and imagined everything that could go wrong. Tom was like a firefighter who was always on duty. He carried a fire extinguisher everywhere, ready to fight fires that had not started. But he never realized the truth. The first person being hurt by all this worry was himself. After months of living this way, his body began to change. His shoulders became stiff. His sleep became worse. His mind was always exhausted. He was still living his normal life, but he no longer felt peaceful. The moment that finally forced Tom to stop happened on a rainy night. The weather forecast mentioned possible power problems in some areas. It was only a simple warning, but Tom immediately became anxious. He rushed outside and bought candles because he wanted to be prepared. He carried them home, believing he would be safe if something happened. But near his building, he slipped and fell. The candles scattered across the ground. For a moment, Tom simply sat there quietly. Looking at the candles around him, he suddenly understood something. He had spent so much energy preparing for a disaster that never happened. But he had ignored the fact that he was already exhausted. He was afraid of losing control. But fear had already taken control of his life. During his recovery, Tom was forced to slow down. He could not work as before. He could not attend endless meetings. He could not constantly check messages. For the first time in years, he had to stop. And during this quiet period, he met an old man named Jerry. Jerry was a carpenter who had lived a simple and peaceful life. People in the community admired his calm personality. Unlike Tom, Jerry was not controlled by fear. One afternoon, Tom sat alone in the garden, thinking about his life. Jerry walked over and said, "Young man, I want to teach you a different way to live. Remember 2 rules. First, only focus on what you can do in the next 2 hours. Second, only care about the life within 8 kilometers around you. Everything else can wait." These words were simple, but they stayed in Tom's mind. For years, he had tried to control the future. Maybe the answer was not controlling more. Maybe the answer was learning what to let go. It was another sleepless night. Tom was lying in bed, staring at his phone screen. An unread message from work was waiting for him, but he was afraid to open it. His mind was already creating endless possibilities. What if tomorrow's meeting failed? What if his manager was disappointed? What if something happened that he could not solve? Then he started worrying about his parents, his career, and even problems that had nothing to do with him. Tom believed that worrying meant he was prepared. He thought that if he imagined every possible problem, he could avoid pain. But after years of living this way, he finally realized something. He was suffering from problems that had not even happened. Tom worked as a project manager at an internet company. To everyone around him, he was responsible and successful. His colleagues trusted him. His managers depended on him. But inside, Tom was exhausted. Every day, his mind was filled with questions. He checked messages again and again. He reviewed his work repeatedly. He worried about mistakes before they happened. He was always preparing for disasters that never arrived. At night, he could not relax. His body was tired, but his mind refused to stop. He felt like he was carrying the weight of the entire future on his shoulders. One rainy evening, something finally changed. The weather forecast mentioned possible power problems in some areas. It was only a small warning, but Tom immediately became anxious. He rushed outside and bought candles, believing he needed to be completely prepared. On his way home, he slipped and fell. The candles scattered across the ground. Sitting there in the rain, Tom suddenly became quiet. He realized he had spent so much energy preparing for a disaster that never happened. But he had ignored the fact that he was already exhausted. During his recovery, Tom met an old man named Jerry. Jerry was a carpenter who lived a simple and peaceful life. Unlike Tom, Jerry was not controlled by fear. One day, Jerry told him, "Remember 2 rules. First, only focus on what you can do in the next 2 hours. Second, only care about the life within 8 kilometers around you. Everything else can wait." Tom decided to try. The first thing he changed was his relationship with his phone. He stopped checking messages every few minutes. He stopped searching for problems before they appeared. Instead, he focused only on the next 2 hours. He asked himself, "What can I do right now?" Slowly, his work became easier. His thoughts became clearer. He discovered that worrying never protected him. It only stole his energy. The second rule changed his personal life. Tom began paying attention to the people around him. He spent more time with his daughter. Before, even during family time, his mind was always somewhere else. But now, he listened to her stories. He noticed her smile. He enjoyed the simple happiness of being together. He also started walking around his neighborhood. He noticed the friendly store owner downstairs. He noticed flowers growing in the garden. He noticed the small restaurant where people gathered every day. These things had always existed, but Tom had been too busy worrying about the future to see them. After practicing this new way of living, Tom discovered something important. The world did not collapse when he stopped worrying. His work continued. His family was safe. Tomorrow did not become worse. Life simply moved forward. Tom finally understood that real control does not come from predicting everything. It comes from trusting yourself to face whatever happens. Months later, during a company meeting, Tom shared his story. He said, "I used to believe worrying could protect me, but I learned that most of my worries never happened. I was suffering before the problem even arrived. Now, I focus on what I can do today. I focus on the people and things around me. I stopped trying to control everything. I learned to control what truly belongs to me." After Tom finished speaking, everyone became silent because they saw themselves in his story. They remembered their own fears, their own sleepless nights, their own struggles. Tom's story was not about becoming a different person. It was about finding himself again. Because life does not require us to control the entire future. It only asks us to live the moment we have.